Hello everybody, I hope you are all having a good day today. This is Ben Jammin from Jammin Studios, and today we're going to be talking about how to make a 2D platformer. This is going to be the first part of a series that I'm going to be working on with you guys, just showing you the basics of how this Godot engine works and how it runs. And so that's pretty much the basis of this first video today, is how to make the 2D platformer. Just the basics, just like the movement, the character, your player, and then you have the platforms as well. So if you like today's video, please like and subscribe, and comment down below if you guys would like to see anything else that I didn't get to, or just questions you have about this, or anything at all that you feel like you just want to know more about. So please leave that down below. So right now, let's just jump right into it then. So you create a new folder, you create a new project, and then you go to the 2D screen. This is what's going to pop up. Over here on the left side, you have a bunch of nodes and stuff, which nodes are basically just how the Godot engine organizes things. So you have nodes, sprites, bodies, areas, things of that nature. So we're going to create our first scene here, and this right here is a scene. What you're seeing right here, it's not a whole lot, but we'll make it work. So to start out, we're gonna click over here, the 2D scene. We're just gonna click that, and then we're gonna double click the node 2D, and we're just gonna name it level 1. Boom. It's just gonna be called level 1. Let's save that and save it there. Now what you want to do to save is hit Control S, and it saves the scene. That's simple. Now, our next step is we want to create the player. So let's go over here, and you'll see the exact same screen we saw earlier. But you don't want to click any of those three. You don't want to click the 2D, 3D scene, or the user interface. You want to click Other Node, and it brings you up this nice little thing here. And what you want to do is, in the search bar, you want to type in Kinematic Body 2D. You always want to go with the ones that have 2D because we're in the 2D screen. If you go to 3D, then it's just not going to have anything, as the highlighted one here shows. So let's click on the Kinematic Body 2D. Now this thing is a body that you'll basically be moving around with scripts. That's pretty much it. This is most likely going to be like your players, your enemies, turrets, bodies like that. So let's just name it player, because this is going to be our player. And you see right here that there's a yellow triangle sign. This is telling us that there are some important pieces that we do need to put into this thing, like a sprite. So we're gonna right click player and hit add child, and it's going to bring up the exact same menu we saw earlier when we were getting the Kinematic Body 2D. We're going to type sprite, and what a sprite is, it's basically what you're seeing. So I don't have anything into I didn't bring any images into this project, so we're just going to use the one that Godot has for right now, which is this nice little neat icon for Godot 2, and that's what we're going to be using for today. Now we're going to add another child to this because we still have that triangle, and the other triangle really is the collision shape. Don't click polygon because the shape one is so much better. The polygon one will mess you up a little bit, but it's way easier if you, for this one, click the collision shape. You want to come over here, go to the shape, and you want to go down to the rectangle shape. You're going to click that, and a nice little box will appear. And what will really help you is, to get this lined up with a sprite, is you come up to the top here with all these tools up here, and you click these three dots, and you go to Pixel Snap. That one is very helpful if you're trying to get very precise with your measurements. So we're just going to pixel snap that. Boom. Now the next tool you can use is the one to the left of the three dots. It's called grid snapping. So if you hit that, you can see a whole bunch of grids now. And you can it'll snap to those. It'll make it a whole lot easier if you're doing bigger projects that you know are going to be on the grid. There will be some times when you have a sprite or a collision shape that won't be attached to, let's say, the lines here that you can see. It might be in between. So that's when you would want to unclick it and just go to pixel snapping. So now let's save the scene to player scene, and let's bring it in over to here. So what we're going to do is we're going to click level 1, go to the link icon up top, and it's going to bring up the scenes. We're just going to click player scene, and now we have the player scene. We're just going to drag him right here, and boom, we got our player now. So let's just run this, and we're going to choose the level 1 as our main scene, and he does not do anything whatsoever. So now what we got to do is we got to actually make him a script. So let's go make a script. So player.gd script, that's alright with me. You can just get rid of these, get rid of that, you don't need it. It's not going to be very useful for what we're doing right here. So for the first part is we're going to need to set the variables. So let's set the couple variables that we're going to need. So we're going to need export var speed. Speed will be our first variable. Let's just set that equal to 200 for now. Alright. Then our next variable is gravity, because our player will be affected by gravity. Now this one will just be 10. I would kind of like to stay with, real life about that one. Now our next variable is the jump force, because our player is going to be jumping in this. So we want to have a variable where he shoots himself up into the air. Now, next one is the velocity. Now this one is going to be a vector2.0. So a vector2 holds two variables, a x and a y variable. Now that is also used for positioning in this world, and also for speeds as well in the x and y direction. Anything that has and needs two variables is a vector 2. And if it says .0, that means it's 0, 0. And then our next one is the constant. The constant variable is just a variable that will never change. It will never change as soon as you set it. So we're just going to be vector2 0, -1. Now this is actually going to be used later down into the program. This is basically telling the program what direction it needs to go in. So are we going up? Yes, we are. It just basically tells the program, okay, gravity. There we go. Now we have all of our variables set. Now these variables aren't going to do anything right now. So what we have to do, we're just going to control save real quickly. Now we have to put these variables to use. So in all of the kinematic bodies, they all have a physics process function. So we're just going to tab that, physics process delta. Now we aren't going to be using delta as of this video, so we're just going to do _ delta to basically tell the program we're not going to use it. And now this function is pretty neat, because it actually runs 1/60th of a second every second, and that's actually what delta equals as well. So the physics process function will just keep on running and running and running. So right now we're just gonna put in right here velocity.x equals 0. So that's basically saying the velocity x to 0, And then we will also want the velocity dot y to plus equal gravity. Now, why is gravity plus equal? Gravity should be negative because we're going down. Well, in programming, it's a little weird. You will get used to it, but the positive y is actually down, and the negative y is up. I know it's very confusing. That's why up has a negative y as well. So that one is also very confusing if you didn't know that as well. So now that I've told you, you'll get used to it. I promise. It had me going as well. And then our next part of this is going to be input dot is action pressed. And we're going to go to UI left and then colon there. Now velocity dot x will minus equal our speed. So what input is basically any button you press. So that would be keyboard, mouse. If any of those things are pressed, that is input. Now the is action pressed, that means basically for the frames, so the multiple frames that it's pressed for, it will then be true. And as soon as you release it, it will then be false. So now we got to do the exact same thing, but in the other direction. So in the other direction. And now we should be able to move left and right. So let's try. Let's see. Huh. It's weird. We're not moving. Well, guess we should keep on typing. Oh, wait. That's right. It's not going to just see velocity as we do and think, oh, we're talking about speed here. No, the bodies actually need a program to tell it, hey, we need to move. And for this scenario, we're going to be using move and slide function. And then we're going to put velocity in there. So now let's try and run this. Oh, there we go. Now he just fell. He just went down out of the screen, out of the window. And that's because of our dot y plus equaling gravity. That's because of that. So now we need to create a platform so that we can try and move him around without him having to actually go off the window and not try anything else. So let's go back, create a new scene by pressing the plus button up top. We're going to go to other node and type in static body 2D. Now this one's the exact same thing as the kinematic body, but it's just not going to move at all. So we're just going to name this to, let's name this floor for now. Just name it floor. And we're going to be doing the exact same thing. So sprite, we're going to drag the icon over to the texture and put it in there. Then we're going to go down to the visibility, turn the modulate black all the way. So now it's just black. Then we're going to add the collision shape 2D, the new rectangle, and now we have a wall, a floor. So we're going to save that scene. We're going to click 1, and we're actually going to add a child node and just type in node 2D. And we're going to name that node floors. We're going to name it floors. Now we're going to select the new node that we just created, go to the link, and hit floor. Now our floor is in here. Now we have one floor. To create multiple ones, you don't need to create multiple scenes. What you can do is you can actually hit Control D and you duplicate it. Now we have two. And we want to turn make sure pixel snapping is on so we can get these just nice and snug and neat. Or, just make this a little more convenient for me, get the grid on. And now we should duplicate this more. And, oh, Control Z to undo. And there we go. Now we have a little platform. So let's just try this again. Yep, he's landing on it. He can move around, but we can't jump yet. And oh wow, that was a very fast drop. Why did he just have a very fast drop? Well, now we get to the up constant that I said earlier. You actually need to put that right in the second slot. So you want to do in the move and slide, velocity comma up, the constant that we created. And then on the front of it, you want to put velocity equals that. So the entire thing will be velocity equals move and slide in the parentheses velocity comma up. And that will actually help it make it float a little better. So right here, now that it's on the platform, it will equal 0. So it's not going to be, the dot y will equal 0. So it's not going to be constantly getting bigger. And as you just go off the platform, you'll softly fall, just like that. Now let's put in the jump function. So we're going to do the if input.is action just pressed. We want this one because we don't want to have multiple jumping frames. So this one will only work on the frame that it was pressed on, the one frame it was pressed on. So we're going to go to the UI up, and we want to continue this function as well because we don't want to keep jumping in the air. So we're going to do and is on floor. That one is pretty self-explanatory. If you're on the floor, it will equal true. And that is if there's something below you, then it's a floor. And we're going to be doing velocity dot y minus equals jump force. Now we're going to start the scene up. And yep, now he's jumping just fine. Alright, now the last thing that I will be showing you guys is the project menu, the project settings. So you want to go to project settings and the input map at the top here. This is all of the inputs that you can do right now. So you saw the UI down, the UI up, the UI right, UI left. That's what we've been using. And you can go over to the side over here. So you see UI left, you can go over the side, hit plus, so you add an event. You can do a key event, a joy button, joy axis, or a mouse button. And this will allow you to basically use any key or button you want to do a certain action. So if we do UI left and we add in the A key, then the A key will move our character to the left. If you want to have a specific name for an action, then you go to the action bar up top and you just type in the action and hit add on the right, and it will pop up down at the bottom and you just add whatever button you want to use. So if you don't want to use the UI left, the UI right, and the UI up that we have in the script right here, then you just go into the input map and create your own if you wanted to. And thank you guys for sticking around for this entire video. If you did, please remember to like and subscribe and comment down below about the things I've said earlier. This has been Ben Jamin from Jamin Studios.